Hi guys and welcome to TechBased. This is the annual video in which we're talking about all the new features that we'll be releasing in the next Windows 11 version. In this case, we're going to talk about all the new features that we'll be releasing in Windows 11 25H2. And in this video, please pay attention because the features are separated into different categories. So you're going to be able to get an idea of how Microsoft is planning to release all these new features in the next Windows 11 version. So if you enjoy videos like these, please don't forget to leave a like below and also subscribe to the TechBased channel with the notification bell activated so that you won't miss any future uploads like this one. So let's begin with the video. Before starting the video, I want to introduce you to private internet access. Using the internet without private internet access is like leaving your phone unsupervised in public places. All it takes is one quick thief to grab it. A virtual private network, or VPN for shorts, hides your IP address and safeguards your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel. Private internet access is the world's most transparent VPN provider with over 30 million downloads, and their no logs policy has been proven multiple times in court. Streaming services such as Netflix have different library options based on where you are located. Using private internet access, you will be able to watch those shows or movies that are not available in your current location. With private internet access, you can also unblock restricted content such as news websites for Canadians, which have been blocked in the past month. And you can use one private internet access subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices at the same time. Make sure to check out private internet access in the links from the description below for a great deal. 83% discount and 4 months free. First of all, a quick explanation about Windows 11 25H2. Windows 11 25H2 will be released as an enablement package somewhere next month, likely in October, and this means that Windows 11 25H2 will be based off the same platform as 24H2. The version change will be a very small update which will basically allow you to have this new version, and in this new version Microsoft will start to enable the new features. Why I'm telling you this? Because all the new features that I'm going to talk about in this video won't necessarily be instantly released at launch. It will be a gradual rollout with 3 featured drops at least, according to Phantom of Earth, which will be most likely in September, October, and November. So you should not expect all the new features instantly after release. They will be gradually released, some of them in some next feature drops, and so on. I'm going to categorize all the new features and I'm going to mention where you should place every feature. We also have another category of features that are features pretty much not likely to release because Microsoft hasn't announced them yet officially, but they are hidden in some of the latest dev channel builds. And of course, for those of you wondering, Windows 11 25H2 is already a part of the dev channel, which I have here, and also it has been released on the release preview channel. So let's begin with all the new features and see what is up with Windows 11 25H2. At launch, Windows 11 25H2 has only one guaranteed feature that will be available for everyone. Other features, of course, will be slowly rolling out as always, and that feature is the new Debloat method for new users. Basically, if you open up the group policy editor and then click on edit group policy, then you expand this a bit and navigate to administrative templates, then Windows components, and then you can expand this a bit and go to app package deployment. You'll notice here a new package which is called remove default Microsoft Store packages from the system. If you double click on this, you'll notice that we are now able to remove certain Microsoft Store packages, basically debloat our system. And you can enable this, click on enabled, and from the list here of options you can disable or uncheck certain packages that you don't want from the Microsoft Store. For example, Xbox gaming app, Xbox identity provider, and so on. You can uncheck everything. Then you can apply an OK, but pay attention, these changes will only be applied for newly created users. So this is a new feature that you need to keep in mind. I think it is pretty useful, but of course it is only for default Microsoft Store packages, not for third-party tools. Moving on to the most likely to be released features in September, October, or November feature drops, and we're gonna begin with the new AI features because for those of you who don't know, Windows 11 25H2 will also have a lot of new AI features that will only be available for Copilot Plus PCs. So if you're a normal user, you can skip this part until a feature for everyone. We are beginning with some new click to do features for Copilot Plus PCs. First of all, we have a new describe image action in click to do to get detailed descriptions of images, charts, and graphs. Useful to get a quick overview of the visual content. When you use the action for the first time, the required models are set up and the descriptions are generated locally on your device, making sure your sensitive data stays on your PC. Click to do is basically a new feature that will add certain options in your context menu to give you some more AI features that you can use inside your operating system. Related to click to do, we also have some new selection modes, basically some new powerful ways to select objects in click to do, freeform selection, rectangle selection, and control click giving you more control and flexibility than ever before. Click to Do is also getting some new gestures for touchscreen PCs, making it easier to use a touchscreen PC with these new AI features such as Click to Do. And finally, Microsoft is also adding Convert to Table with Excel and View Microsoft 365 profile cards for Click to Do. So these are basically the new AI features related to Click to Do. Another AI feature that is improving in Windows 11 25H2, most likely in the next 3 feature drops, is the new AI agent in settings for Copilot Plus PCs. The new AI agent is basically a new AI feature that allows you to find settings without knowing the name of those settings. Basically, just describe the setting that you want to find inside the settings app and you should find it using the new AI agent. And as an addition to this, Microsoft is adding a direct navigation link to the corresponding settings page from the agent search results. Related to the Narrator app, Microsoft is adding a new feature which is called Braille Viewer that allows you to see on-screen textual and Braille representation of the output shown on a refreshable Braille display. This is a helpful tool for sighted teachers, AT trainers, developers, and testers who do not read Braille or who have limited to no access to a Braille display. We're now moving on to features for normal users, and we are beginning with the main highlight, I would say, of Windows 11 25H2, which is the new Start menu for Windows 11. Yes, the Start menu is completely redesigned, and in the following minutes I'm going to show you what has changed related to this new Start menu. First of all, in the main section of the Start menu, the Pinned Apps section and the All Apps section, which you could have accessed if you clicked on a button in the top right corner, have been combined, and you can now see them both in the same section. And also you can now disable the recommended section, which I think is a pretty nice thing that Microsoft has added. The Pinned Apps section can be expanded like this, and you can also right click on the Start menu, go to Start Settings, and you can enable Show All Pins by default, and all pins will be showed by default every time you open up the new Start menu. If we're moving on below to the All Apps section, we have different views that we can enable. We have Category, we have Grid, and we have List. My personal favorite is the Category view, but you can change it also to Grid and also to List if you want. Talking about the recommended section, if you right click on the Start menu and then go to Start Settings, if you disable Show Recently Added Apps, Show Most Used Apps, Show Recommended Files in Start, and also Show Recommendations for Tips, Shortcuts, New Apps, and more, basically disable all these 4 settings, the recommended section won't be showing in your Start menu. If I were to enable them, we will be able to see the recommended section inside the Start menu, as you can see, but once we disable all these 4 settings, the recommended section will disappear and we're gonna have a clean Start menu. In my opinion, this new Start menu design is way better than what we had before, and also Microsoft has improved the phone link integration sidebar, which now has some new options and also some other abilities to show you different recent actions or files or apps from your phone, whether it is an Android or an iOS phone. Microsoft also added this option here at the top right, Hide Mobile Device, and you can quickly hide the sidebar if you don't want it or if it takes up a lot of space from your computer. Of course, this is not how the Start menu will look on your computer. I have here a scaling of 150% for this video, just so everything is bigger and you can see everything better in the video. But if you are on a normal scaling, if I were to change up my display, you'll notice that the Start menu is actually quite small. It is not that big. If I were to open it, you can see that it doesn't take up that much space from the screen. In the phone link sidebar, of course, we have the classic options and info, such as seeing the status of our phone connection and also the battery percentage, quick links to messages, calls, photos, recent apps, files, messages, photos, and so on. And we also have this option to send files and open phone link settings, customize recent activity, and start settings. In the customize recent activity section, you can also see that Microsoft has added certain other options that will allow you to customize the phone link sidebar experience inside Windows 11. In my opinion, overall, this new Start menu alongside with the phone link sidebar is a great change to Windows 11, and I'm looking forward to seeing your opinion in the comments below about this. Moving on to some new features, we have some new File Explorer features. First of all, we have a new File Explorer homepage with the recommended files section here, and basically it will show you files that are pretty much recommended, such as files that you recently downloaded. For example, I recently got this new wallpaper, and if you hover over it, you may see some information about the picture, if it is a picture for example, and information about when you got it, the name and the location of that file. If you hover over this, you also have these 3 dots, which will open up the context menu, and you'll have access to certain options related to this file that is available in the recommended section. Related to the File Explorer, Microsoft is also adding AI actions in File Explorer, which will allow you to have access to some AI features by right-clicking on a file, and this will work for text documents and photos, for example. And as an example for a photo. We're going to have options such as blur background, visual search with Bing, and more. Related to the context menu in the File Explorer, Microsoft is also updating the Open with context menu inside the File Explorer to better show necessary apps and also remove certain apps that weren't relevant. Inside Windows 11, we will also have a new hardware indicators location change setting. This will basically allow you to change the location of the audio slider or the brightness slider on a laptop, and I think this is a great new addition inside Windows 11 25H2. Of course, you can move it to different locations, top left, and so on. Related to settings, Microsoft has removed the Bing search history from its original location inside the settings, and you can now manage your Bing search history directly through the privacy dashboard. So I think this is also something pretty useful because they simplified the way you can view your Bing search history if you're using Bing, of course. Moving on to the taskbar and system tray, Microsoft has improved quite a few things in the taskbar. First of all, we have new notification center on secondary monitors, and basically this new notification center with the calendar, big clock, and also notifications will also be shown on secondary monitors. This is also a pretty useful thing because before you weren't able to view this on a secondary monitor that was pretty much extended. Related to the taskbar, we also have some new taskbar thumbnails animations. This is basically something that Microsoft has tested a while ago. They removed it, but now they added it again. Basically, some new animations whenever you were hovering over certain apps. As you can see, we now have a very smooth transition alongside with the change of the resolution, and as you can see, it directly matches the window size. So for example, if I were to resize the settings app to look something like this, you'll notice that also the preview will match the size that I set inside the window, and I think that is a pretty nice change. Microsoft is also adding a new option to resume apps from your Android phone directly from the taskbar. If you first start listening to one of your favorite songs or episodes in the Spotify app, for example, on your Android phone, on your PC, a resume alert will appear on your taskbar. When you click on that alert, Spotify's desktop app will open and the same track will continue playing on your PC. This is also something pretty useful. On laptops, Microsoft is also adding a new feature for the taskbar and system tray, and that is basically some new battery icons and also percentage shown on the taskbar. This can be quickly customized. If you right click on your battery icon, go to power and settings, and then you're going to have here an option battery percentage, display battery percentage on the taskbar, and you can turn this on or off. Also, the new battery icons will reflect the state of your battery. For example, right now it is 96% in this case. It is showing as charging with this flashlight and also as a green icon. But if I were to, for example, turn on the energy saver and unplug my laptop, you'll notice that now the battery icon has turned to orange, and also when your battery will be low, it will turn obviously in a red battery icon. I think that is also pretty nice. Also, these new battery icons will be available on the lock screen as well as a new feature that Microsoft has added. I think that is pretty useful. Microsoft is also adding some new passwordless improvements, which is basically a third-party passkey support, including a partnership with 1Password to bring users a seamless plugin passkey provider integration in Windows 11. Another feature is also the new administrator protection, which will basically improve the protection levels for an administrator, lowering the chances of a PC being compromised when logged in with the administrator account. We also have some new dialogs that were improved for Windows 11, and basically Microsoft is also improving the dialogs for when an app cannot open. Microsoft is also improving the OB section of Windows 11 with an addition of a new page which is called Review Recommended Settings, and here you're going to have options such as backup your apps and settings, use recommended browser settings, and also import from your other browsers. I think this is a pretty nice thing that combines some of the settings that we had before into a singular page. There are also some new Windows Share features. So for example, in the Windows Share section, if I were to share a file, you're going to notice first of all that you'll be able to pin your favorite apps in the Windows Share window. And if you click on Find Apps, and for example, let's search for Paint, you're going to notice that from here you can find installed apps on your PC or even apps that are available in the Microsoft Store directly from the Find Apps section in the Windows Share window. We also have a new keyboard shortcut, which will basically be Windows plus minus, which will insert an EN dash, and Windows Shift plus minus, which will insert an EM dash. So these were basically the features that will be released in the next 3 feature drops, most likely September, October, and November. Now we're talking about some new features that have been already part of Windows 11 24H2, but there are some people that may have not received these features features, and 25H2 being a cumulative rollout, those people that did not get these features from older updates should be finally seeing them in Windows 11 25H2, thanks to Phantom of Earth on Twitter or x.com for providing additional information about this. So these features are basically the new Recall homepage, which as I've said has already been released, a new tutorial for when you launch Click to Do for the first time. Also Microsoft will extend the rollout for the new customizable widgets in the lock screen, and basically if you access the personalization section, then lock screen, you can have your additional information if you have your Windows 11 activated to customize the lock screen with widgets and so on. In the File Explorer homepage, you'll also be able to see the new homepage activity section improvements. For the Settings app, default browsers will now be automatically pinned on the taskbar. This is also another thing that will be extending its rollout with Windows 11 25H2. In Settings, Privacy and Security, you'll also notice at the bottom a new text and image generation page. This is also already released, but it will be extending its rollout in Windows 11 25H2, alongside with some new privacy dialogues for app permissions. And finally, we have the new Task Manager CPU utilization calculation, which will now basically use the standard metrics to display CPU workload across all pages and aligning with industry standards and third-party tools. And we now finally have a last category of features that may not be entirely new and are only extending their rollout for other devices, or features that have not been officially announced by Microsoft, but they have only been hidden inside certain dev channel builds. And these features, pay attention, there's a big chance that some of them won't ever release to Windows 11 25H2, but I'm still mentioning them because some of them are quite interesting. First of all, we can mention some new Narrator features for Copilot Plus PCs, which are basically enhancing digital accessibility with the ability to get rich, detailed descriptions of images, charts, graphs in Narrator by using the power of AI. This is basically expanding to Intel and AMD Copilot Plus PCs only. Also, the new automatic super resolution. This has been available to Snapdragon PCs since last year. There are a few updates to settings and toast notifications coming, with an Intel and AMD support that could be released by the end of the year. Related to the Settings app, new options that are being moved from the old control panel to the new Settings app, such in time and language, date and time, or language and region. A lot of small options that are moving. Microsoft claims this is not rolling out yet, but of course some of them are rolling out, and this could be part of Windows 11 25H2 very likely. Now we're talking about some hidden features. First of all, new shared audio in quick settings. This was found by Phantom of Earth on Twitter or x.com. This isn't tested in the insider channels as of now, but it is hidden as I've said. And this is basically a quick setting to let you easily play audio through multiple output devices. And I think this is pretty nice. You have an option to click on shared audio, and then you have the option to select two output devices to connect. Also, we can talk about the new dark mode for copy dialogues. According to Phantom of Earth on Twitter or x.com, this is quite unlikely. The file operation dialogues aren't rolling out to Windows insiders yet, and it seems likely that Microsoft will want to give dark mode to more dialogues before any sort of rollout, which could take a long time, and this most likely should happen next year. But as I've said, this is highly unlikely to be released soon on the main release at least of Windows 11. But the new copy dialogues will now have dark mode support, so to test this out and to show you the new copy dialogues, I'm just going to copy this ISO file to my desktop, and you'll notice that now the new copy dialogues have dark mode alongside with the color matching the system theme. As you can see, this is very nice at the moment, and it is basically the same copy dialog but only with dark mode support and this color matching the system theme. Another thing that we can mention is the new delete dialog. If you completely or permanently try to delete a file, this was also changed to now support dark mode. And if you're trying to rename a file that has administrator protection, you're gonna get this new dialog, which now also supports dark mode. Folder access denied, you'll need to provide administrator permission to rename this folder. Of course, this is still in the early stage. That's why I said it is highly unlikely for this to be released this year, most likely next year in another feature drop. And Microsoft still has a lot of work to do to implement all these features and all the dark mode support to all the dialogues in Windows 11. Related to Snipping tool, we also have a new window mode recording option. This is already available to retail, but of course it is still rolling out, so you may see it in Windows 11 25H2. When you select the recording function, you're also going to be able to only record a window, a specific window using the Snipping tool app. And finally, we will most likely have a new Windows Spotlight desktop UI, but this is very uncertain because it is not rolling out to insiders yet, and it looks more like an experimental change, so it is highly unlikely that it will be rolling out. Most likely, Microsoft will choose some of the most well-received UIs and they will release them maybe somewhere next year. So these are basically all the new features that we can mention related to Windows 11 25H2. As a short recap, remember Windows 11 25H2 is just an enablement package. It will be a very quick update that will basically tell Microsoft, well, this guy updated Windows 11 25H2, we can start rolling out these new features to him. This is how it is working basically, and some new features will come in the next feature drops in the months September, October, November. Some features are pretty unlikely to come, and some features will extend their rollout from Windows 11 24H2. For more information about all of these new features, make sure to check out the article below in the video's description, the official Microsoft blog posts related to all these new features, and also Phantom of Earth on Twitter or x.com for more information related to Windows 11 25H2. So this was the video for today. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like below and also subscribe to the TechBase channel with the notification bell activated so that you won't miss any future uploads like this one. I was Emmanuel from TechBase. Until next time, have a nice day.